Hey everybody, it's Daniel. I want to do just a simple teaching, just sharing something from the scriptures concerning fringes and the prayer shawl of which I'm wearing right now on my head. I've had a lot of questions from family members, they've asked me, and friends, they've asked me, why are you wearing that towel on your head? Why do you wear silly strings, four of them at your waist? And, are you Jewish? And, what is that? And so I want to maybe help some of those viewers out there kind of understand where the origin of these came from, the talit, the prayer shawl, and the fringes. Let's turn to Numbers 15:38. If you guys have a Bible, you can follow along. Excuse me. If not, just try not to fall asleep. um, Numbers 15:38. Yahweh said, "Speak to the children of Israel, and tell them to make tassels, or fringes, or tzitzi in Hebrew, on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a blue thread, also called techelet in Hebrew, in the tassels of the corners. And you shall have the tassel, that you may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of Yahweh, and do them, and that you may not follow the harlotry to which your own heart and your own eyes are inclined, and that you may remember and do all the commandments, and be holy for your God. I am Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, to be your God. I am Yahweh your mighty one." So Yahweh commanded his people to wear these fringes on their corners out of their outer garment or their undergarment, to remember their commandments, to look upon them. And these are what the fringes would have looked like. There was something similar to this. It's strands of wool wound together, as you can see, with a blue thread through it called techelet in Hebrew. Now, in Israel, it's tradition to get the blue dye from the snail, but the Bible doesn't say where you have to get the dye and how you have to tie these. It just says to have these, and it says to have blue in it, that when you, even though you can't see Yahweh with your own visible eyes, or your own human eyes, excuse me, that you will look upon these and remember his commandments to do them, and that you will remember not to go lusting after the things of the world, but that you will remember who your maker is. It's like a married couple. They wear rings. It's a tradition of man, but it's a really good tradition, and Brad Scott does a good teaching on this. If you can YouTube him and see for yourself. But married couples wear rings to let the world know that no matter where they are in the world, that they are one with somebody else already. And it's the same principle, that when we wear fringes, we're letting the world and we're reminding ourselves know who our lover is, who our maker is, who we are one with. And that is, we are one with Yahweh through his son Yeshua and the sacrifice he did, and Yeshua the Messiah. So another verse I really want you guys to check out is Malachi 4 verse 2. It reads, "But to you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings." Now I want you guys to circle the word wings there. I have the New King James. It's, every translation has its problem. But if you look in the original Hebrew, the word for wings there is kanaf. A kanaf was a border of an outer garment, which is this. And what hung on the end of the garment was this. It was a tzitzit, or a fringe, a tassel of blue thread and white. And so this, every rabbinic Jew, or most Jewish people that are religious, will tell you that Malachi 4:2 is talking about the coming Messiah. And yet, how does it describe the Messiah? It says that when the Messiah comes, there will be healing in his garments. To some of you, it's already clicking in your heads, but to those that are new at this, hang with me here for a second. So when the Messiah comes and he'll have healing in his wings, that was one of the signs that would prove that whoever did that was the coming Messiah from Yahweh himself, the Blessed One of Israel. Now, most of you guys that are believers out there have read the New Testament passage about the woman in Luke chapter 8, verse 42. You can read about it. A woman who had severe hemorrhage, a flowing of blood for 11 years, I believe. And she went and sold everything to her physicians, to doctors, and they couldn't help her. And so she was pretty much an outcast. She was sick and there was no hope for her. When she saw Yeshua walking through the town, in her desperate hope, her last hope, what she did was she reached out, and it says in the Greek, it says she reached out and touched the hem of the garment. Well, the hem of the garment could mean anywhere. That doesn't really mean anything. But you see, if you look up the Greek word for hem there, it actually is fringe of the garment. And according to what we just read in the Torah in Numbers 15:38, what was the fringe that she held on to? It was the tzitzit. And so, if he healed her by her touching that fringe, would that not qualify him, according to Malachi 4:2, to be the Messiah? Because it says in the scriptures, the incident was that when she grabbed on to the tzitzit, to the fringe, she was healed. And Yeshua turned around and said, "Woman, your faith has healed you." She believed he was the Messiah. Out of her desperate hope, there was no hope for her. If he wasn't a Messiah, she would just be hopeless right there on the spot and humiliated. But because she believed in him, that he was the fulfillment of that prophecy, there was nowhere else to go and turn to. Her faith healed her, and Yeshua healed her, fulfilling Malachi 4:2. We can ask ourselves that question as well. In our lives, there are a lot of things that go wrong. Relationship problems, problems with our parents, our homes, our walk. We might be going through a dry season right now in our walk where we don't know where the voice of Yahweh is. We can't hear him. We don't know where Messiah is, and we feel so far away. But I encourage you guys, what are you guys holding on to? Don't reach out to the world. Reach out to Messiah. Reach out to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, the Mashiach, Yeshua the Messiah, the hope and the King of Israel, who has true healing in his fringes, a healing that will not fail you, a healing that might take a lot of faith to reach out to, and a lot of struggling through many trials, but let me tell you, that healing is worth it. Because as a teacher once taught, peace is never the absence of external conflict. Did you guys realize that? Peace is the absence of internal conflict. If you get rid of the internal conflict, what happens to the external conflict? If you heal the inside, the outside, it will manifest itself in a physical form, and the outside will be at peace. And even if the outside is not peaceful, you have the inner peace to endure through it. That's the difference between the healing Mashiach, Yeshua Messiah gives you in the name of Yahweh, than the healing of the world. The world says peace, peace, and safety. We want external peace, but we don't want to change. But see, Yahweh is the opposite. He says, no, change first inside. Wash the cup inside first, then the outside. If you get rid of the anger and the conflict inside of yourselves and let the Messiah solve that for you, then you'll be surprised at what happens externally and the fruit that will come from that. So I encourage you guys, reach out to Messiah and put your faith in him and believe that he died for you and he suffered so that in his name that you can have eternal life with him. And this is pretty much what I had to share with you guys, and I hope it was a blessing. So this is not a towel, it's a tully, and it's also called a prayer shawl, and it's also called a little tent, or a tabernacle, or a closet. So when Yeshua was telling us, pray in your closet, it was a Hebrew idiom for tully, or tabernacle. So I hope you guys are blessed by this, and may the peace, the shalom of the Messiah be upon you in his glorious name. And may he grow you in ways you can never imagine in the scriptures and in faith. Dig down, go back to the Hebrew. Don't just read the word, but study the word. And you'll just find such amazing blessings through it. And I encourage you to do so. So be blessed in the name of the Messiah, Yeshua, and peace be with you. See you guys.